Welcome to my show, simply entitled Women Influencers, where you will find inspirational stories of successful women in male-dominated industries. I am Veronica Malolas, CCIM, founder and CEO of the Capstack Group of companies, providing commercial real estate development, brokerage, and property management services in the greater Orlando area. Today's guest is Karina Garcia, Vice President of Game Properties, a family office with 17 retail assets under management in South Florida. This was quite a meaningful interview you can't miss. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe below. I welcome your comments and please share with someone who can benefit from this podcast.
Good morning, Karina. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Veronica.
Thank you. All the way from Miami. I was just there last week for the
Oh,
CCIM event. Yeah, it was pretty fantastic. The weather was awesome, and I know that you must be enjoying all of it. We're lucky because we're from Florida. But anyway, Karina.
yeah. You're still from Florida too, but
Yeah, let me jump right in. I wanted to ask you about your story, how you grew up in your environment, and how you got to where you are today. So please tell us.
So I'm Karina Garcia with Game Properties. Like you mentioned, I'm based here out of Miami, born and raised in Miami. So I do love it here. I grew up in a family real estate in the real estate business, to be quite honest. So I was always surrounded by it. Growing up, I'd go to our shopping centers with my dad, my mom, my sister and I used to pick which ones were our favorite based on what was around there. When there was a property that had Krispy Kreme, I knew if we went to that one, we were going to Krispy Kreme after. There was one that had just breakfast. So when my sister and I, we didn't know much about real estate. We just knew what was located surrounding our properties. And that's how we judged back then what was a good property and what wasn't. But I grew up in the family business. Like I said, local in Miami. So I went to an all-girls school in Miami called Carrollton School of the Sacred Heart. And I think that was very influential in my life. My sister and I we grew up in a family just girls, but going to an all-girls school really empowered us, made me always feel like there was nothing we couldn't do as women. It was very motivating. Again, very inspirational girls that I grew up with, and I was with them in school since a young age. So just seeing everyone grow up in a really, in those really important years, and what everyone went on to do after, I think was very, very important. And it's a little bit different background than most people, but I think that was very influential and still is something that resonates with me since I am all about women investing, women in real estate. So I think that played a key role. I then went on to University of Miami, where I did my undergrad in business. And then I went on to do a master's in business as well. And during that time, I decided to stay local because I knew I wanted to work in my family business. And I thought it was important to, unlike many other people who go away before coming back to the family business, I knew I wanted to work in the family business while my dad was actively working because he is a little older. And I thought those were going to be key years. So I'd go to school, go to university. And then when I had, a few hours, my office was 10 minutes away from University of Miami. So I'd come into the office, and slowly that is how I went learning and doing a little bit of everything in the office. I did everything, at that time, and worked under his admin until I went working my way up. And in 2012, when I graduated from my master's, that is when I started working full-time in the business. And at that time, my sister had already been working here 2 years. So we did go through a little bit of an adjustment period of figuring out our roles. And I think that's very important in any family business, but in particular, just wherever you're working, knowing exactly what your role is and doing what works best for you. We at one point did everything, and we just realized that wasn't going to help us get ahead. We had to use better, manage our time better, as well as there was things she didn't like doing and things I didn't like doing. And there was no reason we had to do all of that. So being able to figure out exactly our roles was very important in how we can move forward in our company to make it more successful. So we have a portfolio of 18 properties at this time, and that includes single tenant properties to larger strip centers. The largest shopping center now being about 70,000 square feet. and we do all the property management and leasing for our shopping centers located here in South Florida. And we are looking to acquire more and, make our portfolio larger, looking for the right opportunities.
So, Karina, it is really so very interesting how you talked about growing up visiting your shopping centers or your properties as a child with your sister, who, by the way, is just got married, right?
And she got married last
Oh,
week. Yeah,
so awesome.
very happy.
Congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
I think that what resonated, you know, just if I'm not mistaken, what I'm getting it from you is that your actual experience around the shopping centers actually made you a little bit more connected to your properties, which is pretty awesome. I mean, you were just enjoying the fact that you could go to Krispy Kreme or other stores as a child, and that kind of made you love the real estate sort of business. And I'm so happy for you. What is your role right now? I mean, what's your title for game
So
properties?
I'm vice president. I mostly am the one who handles our leasing, negotiating leases, whether it's new leases and bringing in new tenants or our current leases renewing our existing tenants. We have many long-term tenants, and that's one of the things that as well attracted me. I would go to the properties and I'd see these tenants, and year after year, we had the same exact tenants, and they knew me and they knew my family, and I really liked that community as well. And still to today, we have tenants we've had for, 20, 30 years that were original tenants of my dad. And that's really lovely to see that we still have some of those same tenants. And it makes me feel like we're doing something right, that they want to continue being at our property and they're not looking to, move elsewhere, find a different landlord, that they're happy as well with us.
Oh yeah, that's pretty awesome. And let me tell you, I totally get what you're saying about the different dynamics when you're working with family, because we have a small family business as well. And
Mhm.
I'm so excited to hear another woman like you, especially a young woman, who really is very intentional about making sure that you are kind of spreading your knowledge and your wisdom and coordinating sort of events for other women. I think that's pretty amazing, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I wanted to ask you about a specific challenge. I know that you are second generation owners, but I'm not even sure. I mean, did your grandparents own real estate and then your
My
father grew it?
father,
And
my
it
father
was your father.
started, yes.
Awesome. And they're retired now.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So talk to me about the one challenge that you've overcome that you're most proud of.
So I think one of the biggest challenges is the transition from one generation to the next. And my father, in that regard, has always been very open and very willing to, learn new ways and let us take the lead. But I think what my sister and I did that was very important for us is to find our own network and build our own network of professionals. So yes, we started by using the bankers he used to use, but let me be honest, my dad is 79. His banker started retiring.
Yeah, makes
His
sense.
started retiring. The brokers who sold him deals were no longer in the industry or they were retiring. So we realized really quickly, while it was very good to start with some of his connections, we had to build our own connections. And when we were doing that, we were also very mindful of I wanted bankers that were younger because I want to create my relationships with them now and be able to use them for many more years. I didn't want to find the banker that was still in their 60s and might be retiring soon. We wanted to build a network of professionals that we're going to be younger and we can continue working together with them and watch them grow as well as we grow. And I first started doing that. Some of them were just like naturally friends. Like I did my master's program. One of my friends went to work at TD. I started banking with TD. And slowly we went like that. But I think that was one challenge, finding our network in that regard. And just also being able to make a name for my sister and myself and make our company be connected to us. Game Properties be known for Karina and Katrina and not for Garcia. I think that was very, very important. And it all goes hand in hand with by building my own network, I was able to overcome that challenge. And now sometimes people are like, well, how'd you start your business? Like, no, it was my father. And they're like, wait, who was your father? Like, they don't even know because they only now know Game Properties with us. And as time has passed, that has been something we really worked hard to do. And I'm glad, and I feel we have been able to achieve that and achieve the recognition that, the company is led by my sister and
Oh,
myself.
oh, and that must have been a lot of hard work on you and Katrina's part. I mean, it's not easy to reset an already very, very established company. And kudos to you. I mean, wow, you knew from the beginning that you needed to kind of rebuild and not sort of just hang on to your dad's coattails. I mean that's pretty amazing, pretty amazing. So let me ask you about influence. And if there was one outcome that you're most proud of that you had influence on, what would that be?
Going back to family, one thing I started was a group of women who are at least second generation women in the family business. And it started off very organically that it was my sister and myself and two other sisters who owned a property across from us in Coral Springs. And we started getting together to talk about our challenges, how in family business, the transition is very difficult. The family dynamics are very difficult. And not everyone understands that. People
Mm,
understand how it is to work with, to have your boss or have coworkers and, two brokers in the office and how does that work? But the family dynamics is very difficult and figuring out what the family goals are, what you want to do in the next generation. So this little group that we started just organically, us and one other group of sisters, now we've grown it and we are 7 families that get together on a very consistent basis. We also have our WhatsApp group and we constantly, like the other day, a friend of mine in the group text and was like, hey, somebody crashed into my building. This happened. What should I do first? And we're just like there for each other. And we're able to give advice, whether again, sometimes it's family related, sometimes it's completely not, it's just property related. But being able to create this group, I think was very important because there's no other group like it and nobody else understands our challenges the way we do. And then we've even gone now and extended it. And we just did last month a group online through Zoom of more women that we actually met a few of them at Best Women Investment Summit that are in the family business or want to see how they get in their family business. And it was very nice to see this group continue to evolve over time. And we started this about 3, maybe 4 years ago at this point. So it's nice to see where we are today in it. And I'm
I
very
love it. Yeah, I love it. And you should be proud. I mean, I hope that one day we can join your virtual group. I know from a different location, but you're absolutely right. Family dynamics in business is just so different because there's a lot of emotions
yes.
that play into business decisions, and you have to be careful about what you say. You can't really risk your relationships, and it's really not easy. And you're right, it is super unique.
It's funny,
So,
we do say that the good thing about family relationships is that you have full trust in the people you're
correct.
working with. Immediate trust because you've built that relationship all the years of your
Absolutely.
life being in the same family. However, sometimes you tiptoe over things that if it was somebody who wasn't related to you, you just go out and straight say it, but you have to
Yeah.
the finesse and the because you're going to see them on Sunday at brunch. You're
That's right.
you're going to leave work and then you have a birthday. So yes, finding that balance is hard.
I love it. I love it. And I'm sure all the women that are in your group are just so grateful for the opportunity to connect with other women and family owned businesses. I just absolutely love that, Karina. Well, let me ask you, if there was one piece of advice that you could give to our audience today, what would that be?
I think the building your network and being able to rely on it is extremely important. I started this group, but I've started other groups. I have a supper club that is here in Miami, a real estate supper club, and we get together, mostly property owners, but some brokers as well. I have a group that is just a landlord group that we get together, a retail leasing group. And I think it is so important to have people you could rely on, you can call, ask for information, share information. There used to be this like notion that you couldn't share information with other people, that everyone was out. I feel like people used to think everyone was out to get you. If you tell somebody else, they're just not going to want the best for you or they're not going to want to help you. And I think that's really changed. It also has to go both ways. You can't expect people to share information with you if you're not open with them. But I think it's very important to have a group you can rely on, and share information, because all you're doing is helping each other and helping both of yourselves, grow. So I think everyone, no matter what business they're in, what stage of their career they're in, it is very important to start to build your network. And whether it's a group that starts with 2 people and it continues to grow, or you just have that one accountability partner that you speak with as well and you share ideas with. But I think that's very important, and people need to know you don't need to do this on your own. There's many people that are willing to speak to you and want to speak to you and want to learn from you as well. And by building your network, you're going to go significantly farther than not.
Oh, I love that. I think that's great advice. There's a lot of people, especially in your generation, who have kept behind a laptop.
Mhm.
And because of COVID and all of the home, work from home thing. And I think that it's really something when you can have an opportunity to break bread with other people.
Yes.
So I love that idea. Absolutely great advice. So, Karina, we've come to the part of our interview where I get to pass on the mic to you and you get to ask me a question.
Okay.
So,
Awesome. So I want to know how you got started in real estate and how it interested you, because mine was very influenced by my family. So I'm just curious, how did you decide to go into real estate?
well, great question. And thank you for asking that. I actually did not grow up in a real estate family, so to speak. So, my father was a CPA attorney and he worked for Philippine government. I grew up and I was raised in the Philippines all the way out to when I got a divorce, actually. So, it wasn't my choice to move here, but I did. But I will tell you that the story goes I was a single mom in New York City when I was living there. And that was about mid 90s. So, I mean, I don't know if anybody still remembers Carlton Sheets, but he had an infomercial of a book that he was selling at that time. I don't think the internet was even really widely used. It's so funny how very recent that was. I mean, you know,
Yes,
relatively recent.
relatively.
Yeah. But but the book was about real estate investing and how you make money and why it's a good idea to invest. And I had to buy that book. And again, I was a single mom looking for an opportunity to grow. And I just absolutely loved real estate. And so when I got remarried and moved to Orlando area in Kissimmee, my husband and I actually started investing in residential homes and rented them out. And just that really just made me love real estate. Then eventually I became a realtor and then by serendipity and really just because God opened the door, I was able to enter into commercial real estate because of an opportunity that came to me to represent commercial properties by a local government, and that really changed the whole trajectory of my career. But yeah, so funny story. It was an infomercial, not like you.
Um,
You grew up in real
you
estate, but
influenced. It didn't
yeah,
stop the infomercial. That's
yeah, it was
awesome.
it
I
was
love
called
that.
infomercial. I don't know what they're called now.
I
That's what
love
they were called. Oh my God. But anyway, thank you for that question. I love that question. I wanted to ask you if people wanted to connect with you, how can they do that?
So anyone can email me, Karina@gameproperties.com. Also connect with me in social media. I'm really active, especially on Instagram, posting, at the events we attend, when we're at our properties, some good information, and on Twitter as well, LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to me in any way. I'm happy to speak with anyone.
And we're going to post your links down below. So if anybody wants to connect with Karina, you could do that. So I
Yeah.
want to thank you, Karina, for coming again for the second time to attempt to
Thank
record this.
you.
I know we had like Zoom was
The
down
one
the
day
last time.
Zoom outage,
I
National
know.
Zoom outage was our day. It's
Yeah, so I wanted
thank
to
you.
just thank you again because this was really cool. It's just different because you're from a family office and I don't think I've interviewed anybody from a family office yet. So this is so different and so very powerful. All your message has been really amazing. And do you have some parting words with us? I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the Women's Summit.
Yes. So the last time I saw you was in March at the Women's Summit. And for anyone who's not familiar with it, there's a Women's Investment Summit put on by Beth Azor every March. And this was the 5th year, actually, she did it. And it's just a phenomenal conference for women. Does not matter what stage of investing you're on. If you've never invested, if you don't even know anything about real estate, but you're curious, or if you already are a seasoned investor, I continue to go each year, and it's just so fascinating because you meet some incredible women, and in all aspects. Like, I only focus on retail, and it's so cool to me to hear these stories of women who are in storage, multifamily, there's so many different types of real estate out there, and it's great to connect with these women, see what they're doing. And every year I go, I leave more motivated. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could be doing more. I need to do this next year. And you just, again, you meet a great network of women. So I highly encourage anyone who is either in real estate, a little bit interested in real estate, or has been there a while, to attend next year. And, bring your family. I know you had many of your family members there, and that's awesome. That's awesome
Yeah.
that you were, bringing them into that. And I think that was great.
Well, I love hearing that your perspective of that summit coming from someone who grew up in real estate, has already 17, 18 real estate assets, I think, and you still find value. I think that's
Yes,
awesome. Like
yes,
for
you
me,
do.
we were just stepping into real estate acquisition, commercial real estate acquisition with my sisters, and that's why they came with me this year. And that's a different perspective from yours. But hearing you say you're so excited, you're getting a lot of value from that, really makes me even more bought into this women's summit. Which, by the way, we've pre-bought our tickets
So
already.
did I.
Yeah, and we're going to post that link also
Oh,
in
yes,
here. So
that'd
this
be
is
great.
cool. I want to
That's
thank you
awesome.
again. I mean, I know you're a busy
Thank
woman, and
you.
congratulations to Katrina. It must have been a
I will
beautiful
tell
wedding.
her. Thank you.
And,
Thank you. Thank
and,
you so
and
much for having me. I really
oh,
appreciate the
oh,
opportunity.
you have been a fantastic guest, and I appreciate that you're openly sharing your thoughts about family business. And I wish you all the best with growing your network through advocating for women in commercial real estate. So thank you again, Karina. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye. Thank you.